Welcome to the Emo Social Club podcast, broadcasting to you live from emosocialclub.tv. I am Brian.
And I'm Lizzie, and we're here this evening with Rej of GRLwood. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Talking hinder, talking
Avenged
the
Sevenfold.
butt rock.
Yeah, you have a great radio voice. That's what I was trying to say. It sounds well rehearsed.
It's from years of just fucking it up for so long and pretending I knew what I was doing. And I think at a certain point, you just finally figure out what you're doing.
That's how it goes.
Or maybe you're like really close to your mic.
I do think I have more bass in my
ASMR,
voice.
but loud.
Yeah.
Isn't ASMR like the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
All chewing noises.
Hell yeah.
My
dog makes that noise.
Yeah. It's all the noises that you would make to your pet, like, but like it's like really loud in their ear.
There was one person on TikTok, they're like, "Oh, my dog has an ASMR account." I'm like, "What?"
No.
I'm like, "How does that work?"
It's got to be those.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of, and I'm like, "That's so fucking weird."
Maybe it's their nails walking on the floor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You like record like a cat, like what's it called, making biscuits?
Scratching.
You know, when they like push on
like
the blanket.
kneading?
Yeah. I've always heard it called making biscuits. I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah. Making biscuits, kneading dough.
Kneading the dough. So when you're not doing your own ASMR channel, Rej, what tell us about GRLwood, tell us about the band and you know, yourself.
I write a lot of music. I play drums, guitar, sing. I make everything at home. And then I'll make demos and I'll put that in a big fat dump of, there's a better word than dump, a digital pile that exists that my management team can look through, and then they'll sort through certain things and be like, we want this one. And they actually don't make any comments. It's usually, I'm like, I like, here's 10 that are okay, and here's 4 I hate. And they were like, you want the ones that are okay and one that you hate. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. Thank you. And then we put the effort into like those ones. And I'm being dramatic. There's lots of songs I do like, which is, we're working on one now, Keep It Average. It's totally done. I mixed it all, made it all here, and I'm really excited about that one. But like Kid Bruises, the one we're supposed to be talking about, is not one I would have chosen. It's like super vulnerable and heavy, you know. I'm like talking about like being a suicidal like kid, you know, and like that's not one I was like, I love this song, let's share it to the world. It was more like my manager was like, bro, people need this one, and I was like, really?
You're like, do they though? Do they?
Okay, but yeah, so I'll do all the recording here, and then Mia is so we perform as a duo, and then Mia is my like performance drummer, because like I wish I could do it all, but I also love to have it works. It's more digestible, right, to have like yes, separate drums, voice, and guitar. That's usually more digestible for people, and it's easier. So but I'll record stuff and I'll send it to her, and she'll lay down drums because she has really good recording stuff for drums, and I don't. So, and she's wicked busy. I wanted to invite her to come on, and she was like, "Where is she?" I think she's in the UK right now.
Oh,
Now, if I remember our email correctly, yeah, it's like she's gonna be in the UK. She's not sure. I'm like, well, I don't know if 7:30 p.m., 8:30 p.m. for you, right? So like we're in night. Like UK is like, nah, I'm asleep. I'm not gonna make it.
It's like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, and she's like playing shows there right now, so I think she like worded it like, maybe I can be in the green room like right before, and then the amount of kick flips she was doing to explain how she can make it work, I was like, all right, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. You do you. It's cool. We got it. Love her to death. She's real funny and wicked talented, so she's always out with like other musicians, which like I think is rad. I'll be on like a 2-week binge working on something at home, and then, you know, get an email or something. Hey, I'm in UK, like Pam Tillis or like whatever have you. And I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. Yay. Good.
So how did you meet
people?
Mia then? If she's like going everywhere, did you just like meet her at like another gig or something?
No, so actually, my management team lives in Nashville, which is really close to here, and there's a whole lot of music industry, like business people in Nashville, and they all like know each other. Not everybody, but like enough people say like, oh, we all know each other. So I actually met her through my management team. He was like, hold on, you have to meet this crazy amazing drummer who's like all over the city right now. I want to, and I met her like in 2020. And she was awesome, and we got along real well, and she was really good. And honestly, when I first had one of our shows, and I was wicked embarrassed because I got there, and I was like, all right, here's our set list, and she had them all like blocked out on like an iPad or a pad specifically. There's a phrase for it. She was so professional. She like schooled me at my own songs, and I was wicked embarrassed. Sat in my van in silence for like 40 minutes.
Should I be doing this?
Have I been wrong this entire
Do I know how to
time?
music?
She was so good. I learned so much though, so now it's great. So now I like, what's it called? Charts. That's what they're called.
That's it. Yeah.
So now everything I have charted out. So I will never, knock on wood, be surprised like that again. I was so embarrassed, but it hasn't happened since. So that's good.
I mean, you found your drummer. It's like now you have all the charts ready to go.
Yeah, they have a really funny, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's like a little triangle diagram, and it was just like you can never have all three, and it was like for a drummer, and what did it say? It was like sober, talented, available. Mm-hmm. And it was like it's a joke, right? Like you have to pick one, and I'm really glad. I love working with her because I feel like I'm not losing anything out of that triangle. I feel like it really is. She's just awesome. Mia's awesome. That's all.
You've got me thinking about my drummer now. Like, which one is he missing?
Which one's he missing?
I've never seen him.
Slandered his own band.
Jeff does not listen to this podcast, so he will not know.
Yeah, definitely slander him. Fake friend energy.
Here's the thing I like the most about Jeff as a drummer, and he won't listen to this, so he'll never be complimented. He just sort of like sits there and is just ready to go, while the rest of my band is just talking absolute bullshit, like between songs for like 5 minutes, and it's like, we could practice like twice in the time that we're just standing here, like saying like, oh, my pickups are doing this. It's like, dude, okay. The singer and the drummer don't give a shit about your pickups at all and never will. Can we just play another goddamn song so that we can get out of here? Like you can, my whole thought is like, hey, you can jerk off your guitar later. We really want to just play music.
Yeah, I've been in plenty of situations with people who are like, yeah, let's jam. And then they just want you to do something so they can essentially just like jerk off while you play and be like, the entire time. It's like, okay, doesn't take two or anything. Like, Jesus, here's your rhythm so you can do whatever the fuck you want. And then they're like, I'm done. I'm gonna go home now. And it's like, wow, okay, fuck, don't give me a turn. All right. There's so many, it's like dancing or relationships, and I feel like there's a lot of lack of self-awareness, especially. But anyway, I've also done a lot of jams or plays with people who are just like,
and some of the other guys might listen to this, so I'll say they already know this. I've already told them all of my opinions on like. Musicians are a special brand, they're a special type of people. Like,
brand?
Yeah, it's a brand of person. It's a type of like, first of all, if a musician has an instrument in their hands, they're playing it. Even if they're not even if you're like in the middle of a conversation, they're like, my guitarist will constantly be like this, and I'll be like, I'm trying to relay information to you. And I only sing. I've got nothing in my hands. I'm just ready to talk. And I also have a microphone so I can be louder. But then they're still just like this. And I'm like, I don't feel like you're processing anything that I'm saying to you right now, because you're just like, yeah, these chords I'm playing right now. I'm top guitarist in the world right this exact second. It's like, okay, man, like special type, special brand of person.
Maybe they're a really good listener. Don't know how to show it.
I will tell them you said that, and then I will tell them I'll just nod. Probably not though. Probably not.
It's probably not. Just don't.
Yeah. Anyway.
Having a two-person band is probably the way to go, though.
That was gonna be my next question. Is how many people do you have to navigate?
Fucking 5, because
that's enough.
It's like, okay, can we just like figure out how to do this with like 2 people? Even though it's like a full band, like 2 guitars, bass, like I get it. I can only sing. I get it. I understand. But how do we make your guitars less? How do we make the number of people that I have to tell the same information to
Listen, Brian,
less?
you just have to learn an instrument. That's really it.
What else? Open ideas, open to concepts.
I mean, do you ever feel like a teacher, like a kindergarten teacher, like managing people? You ever feel like, okay, class, okay, listening ears.
Yes, I've done that.
Like a talking stick.
Yeah.
I have the stick. I'm talking. I'll give you a turn. Now listen to what I have to say. You know,
we have 100% done that. Like tossed a ball back and forth. 100%. I'm like, I don't know how, like in all the bands we've interviewed, it's like, how do you wrangle cats? Like, how do you get people in a room together? And so, like 2 people must be the absolute easiest way to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I've had a lot of experiences when it wasn't easy. I'm just blessed again to have like an amazing person I work with who's like, I mean, you know, without a doubt, more like professional minded than even I am sometimes in terms of being super on top of everything. So I'm also super, what's it called? Not type A, because I don't want to take like the whole massive, you know, personality a person can be and say, I'm one of 2, right? That's like the human condition can't be one of 2. But I am a very like intense kind of like get stuff done, very serious, very like organized and whatnot. And it feels really awesome and effective to have a partner that also does that, you know, and is also super on top of things. It's super rad. I always use the analogy of making the boat float. And it's like, we're both there doing the exact same amount of work to make the boat float. And that feels like really good, right? Like, you don't want to be like, you know, like what, scrubbing deck and running what ropes. I don't know any of the terminology. Doing the ropes and the shit.
Sounds right to me.
And then
Sounds right.
Fucking like, you know, it's laying on the ground, like picking at it with their fingernails, just laying there. And you're like, bro, move, like do something, you know. You don't want to be that because then you look like the mom or something, and then you don't get to have like a natural dynamic. You know what I mean? It's always best to have like people that are in the same headspace. I use that phrase a lot, making the boat float. Or if I talk about like, it's always has something to do with the boat.
It's a good one.
You like boats?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the boat's opinion of me is, but I'm a fan of being
Brian's
on
usually
and
a
around
menace
boats.
on a boat.
Are you the menace on the boat, or are you laying on the floor, picking the chips, picking those weenies?
Depends on the boat. Yes. Yeah. A lot of the time. I listen to yacht rock and it just makes me like really just want to like vibe out and chill and just like sit down on the
yacht rock?
Yeah.
What's yacht rock?
It's I'd say like if you've ever been to a supermarket and heard like
No,
I gotta think of a song.
I don't know what you're talking about. You gotta sing it.
You know the song Brandy? It's like surrender.
I think it's like older music, like music that like your dad who like retired to Florida listens to.
Yeah. And it's like it just fits so good on the boat though.
Yeah,
like,
or your grandma. That's exactly it.
Fleetwood Mac
exactly
is also awesome. Like I think Fleetwood Mac is just like kind of like adjacent to it. But like
I mean, I guess I could see it, but I feel like it's too popular now.
You listen to Rhiannon on a boat, get back to me. It fucking goes, dude. That boat sails faster.
Do you want it to sail faster though? Because I thought you were having like a good old time.
It depends. The farther away from land you are, the longer it takes you to get back. More boat time.
I'm still processing yacht rock. I've never heard that before, and I'm like, yacht rock.
There's a cover band in Chicago.
There's a XM channel
there
devoted to yacht rock.
There are playlists.
I tried to listen. I will say I tried to listen to it once, and I got very bored very quick.
Yeah, well.
Okay.
All right, Lizzie. Hall & Oates is on a lot of those playlists.
Big
and
Dad
Hall &
Rock
Oates
energy.
Hall & Oates, if I may, I'm going to say it. Hall & Oates fucks. Hall & Oates is good.
I don't know what that is, but yeah.
The silence is hurting me.
Yeah.
Brian's really showing his the closer he gets to dad rock age.
Yep. I was born in 1964.
Stop.
Sure wasn't.
No, you weren't.
All in oats.
Yeah.
Rolled oats.
Rolled
Yes.
oats, exactly.
I like oatmeal.
They're like, what I want.
Okay.
This is our first DMCA episode of the podcast.
Yeah, sing to me. I'm all right. Just like then sevenfold, I was like, you gotta do a song, and you were like the God one. I was like, I don't know what that is. You gotta sing it to me, and you did, and it clicked. I think.
It's like Sing to Me, Paolo. It's like the Liz McGuire movie all over again.
Can you tell the ages of our? Can you tell our ages right now based on what music we just said we listened to?
Oh yeah, I don't want to guess. I was like, I don't. I know a trap when I see it.
No, you can guess. Neither one of us is going to
Brian
be upset.
usually says he's 200 years old. So
yeah. Every podcast I feel older.
How old y'all think I am? I'll trap y'all.
Well, no, you have to because you haven't said a musical like what were you listening to in high school? Because then I'll go. Well,
Hinder, baby, or like not that that's what I listened to, but that was we were talking about music adjacent to what we consider emo.
So like, what were you listening to in high school? Look, we know it's not on recording or anything that you listen to Hinder, so everyone will know. But what were you listening to like sophomore, junior year of high school?
Oh man, oh shit, fucking sophomore, junior year of high school. I really liked Under Oath. I think I still have my iPod. I still have Under Oath on my iPod. What else is on there? Bring Me the Horizon, MCR, Fall Out Boy, but just like a few songs. MCR, just a few songs. Honestly, like when I was a teenager and I really wanted to be like a real fan, and I really tried. I got my toesies in the water. I got the water up to my knees. I went to my hips and I was like, nah. I went back to my knees and was like, yeah. So like, I tried though. I went real in there, listened to all them fucking all the shits off the LimeWire, and some of it for me real hit. Some of it for me real didn't, but the stuff that really hit, I really liked. So I wouldn't be like, I like MCR, because I felt like that was one of those bands where you say, I like MCR, and they're like, name
their albums,
EPs and all this other shit, and I was like, there was so much of that gatekeeping stuff when I was a teenager that there was like so much like insecurity about even saying like, like, oh, I like this, you put on fucking, back then I felt like you put on skinny jeans, fucking what is it, straighten my hair with hairspray in it so it has them anime spikes and all that, and someone's like, oh, I bet you listen to and everyone has just these nasty little nastiness, and then but anyway, I listened to all that. I feel like once like Job for a Cowboy happened and then like the hardcore movement kind of started happening, I really like a lot of that music, but that's the point I was kind of like, all right, y'all are smoking stuff I'm not trying to be smoking. And then my own life started happening in a different way, and I was like, I respect y'all for where y'all at, but not against Job for a Cowboy, it's just great stuff. But I remember specifically like just, I don't know, when I think about like the emo era and the music I liked, I hate that like all of the high school elitist emo bullies come up to my mind, man. I think of the music I like, number one. Number two is all the stinky weenies, man.
The stinky
I hate,
weenies.
just like you said about there's the stinky weenie guys who assigned to that one label, and therefore you didn't like it because they sucked. You didn't like any other artists. You know what I mean? How a stinky weenie can just ruin like a whole ass good thing for you, but they're still there in my brain, and that sucks. And actually, one of them bullies is actually in like I think he actually played the what's it called? What's the thing? The thing you all were talking about.
Oh, when we were young fest?
Yes, that. Yeah, he actually played that, and he's always been like, yeah, emo. But he was also one of those kids that was, I won't say who it is or who the band is, because, like, honestly, fuck that guy. But he was like, dude, I'm not, like, fucking, I'm, like, in the neighborhood next to his, but we used to live in the same neighborhood when we were teenagers, so that was funny to see us both, like, have similar tracks, but we don't talk or nothing, but I think one time he like a friend, I don't know, anyway, but he was the kind of kid that was like, I was the first one in my school to wear skinny jeans, so he just like thought he was the coolest thing ever, which is like good for him and all that, but like, goddamn, he was so mean.
Yep.
Such a meanie pants, and people being like, that's not really emo, Job for a Cowboy is so much harder, and they're like, you listen, like, it's not heavy enough, and what's funny is like, I like lived my life and I did all my other shit, and then I came back to town like way later, and honestly, like that mentality's still alive and well. Like it never died with high school. There's still so much of that, and I was hoping like, you know, maybe I get older and like things change and people chill out. No. No. They're still stinky weenies, I think.
I think it depends too, but like how I think it goes into like some influencer culture too, because there's people who are like, oh, I kind of peaked in high school, and then they're like, oh, I'm gonna peak also on the internet with my peak high school personality. And you're like, uh-oh, it's not what we're supposed to do, bestie. It's not what you're supposed to do.
What are you saying? What are you saying to me right now?
I'm not saying to you at all. If you feel personally attacked, first of all, that's you, because I wasn't personally attacking you.
My personality is exactly the
peak
same
in
now.
High school?
No, I sure fucking didn't. But I'm the exact same as I was in high school. I have not changed.
But I'm saying, but like you didn't peak in high school. It's like, think of it as like the captain of football team who definitely peaked in high school, but he's like 30 now, but he still wears his high school like jacket. It's the same thing, but emo.
Yeah, I mean, you watch that elder emo hashtag on TikTok, and sometimes I like what I see, and sometimes I'm like, oh, that's weenie, isn't it? Oh, you're mean, aren't you?
You're mean, and I can see it.
I can like smell your stinky weenie meanness coming through the hashtag. Not that everyone's like that, right? Like I feel like you can just really tell. It's just like,
you can know.
I'm a person.
Yep.
Hell yeah, you know. And then people that are like, oh, that's not really emo. Man, I got another story if y'all chill with it. So I was on tour in Illinois, and the people that put us up, lovely people. We stayed too long. Because very, very quickly I got a good idea of like, whoa, like the inner workings of like this group of friends and kind of their whole thing. And their whole thing was like, we're the real emos. Emo started here in Illinois.
Oh no, you got the Midwest emos, arguably
American football.
Arguably the most gatekeepy of them all.
Yeah, seriously.
It really was the like you said, like that peaked in high school, super like, I'm gonna say the M word, but like misogynistic bro-y culture that's just like, do you even emo? Just like horrible, just like very gatekeepy, very like, it was, their social hierarchy was extremely defined, I should say, right? And that was a trip and a half, and then we get there and they're all like, which is fine, and I'm just like, yes, hello. I just want to sing and then I'll leave. And, you know, we have like a few different, we have like a pop rock set we can play if that's the vibe. We have like a really heavy set where it's like screaming and operatics the whole time. And we can really curate our sound to what's for the space. So I was like, let's just play all the fast, heavy shit and be done because it's the quickest, you know? And so we play all the fast, heavy shit. And like, man, I wish I could remember one of the details of the story that made it good. I done started talking and I forgot where I was going.
It sounds like it was all house shows.
Yeah.
And after it was all house shows.
Yeah.
It was like 2 house shows and a basement show. But they were lovely people. I'm not trying to say everyone was like this, right? But again, there's a few stinky wieners, you know, and there's just a lot of stinky wieners and when it comes to emo stuff. I feel like you give people what's it called? You give them like shoe cubbies. And then they're like, this one's mine. You know, it doesn't matter that everyone has shoes in a shoe cubby. They're like, those ones, they're mine. My shoes, you know? They got to make a whole thing. And
same seats on the bus.
Always.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, kids are mean and emo days were as good as they could be, and being a depressed teenager and kicking emo day. Were any of you ever affected by kicking emo day?
Not in a negative way.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Are you kicking emos?
No. I just like to be noticed for a minute, you know?
I just like to be noticed.
Because I was never one of the kids who's like, nah, I'm not emo. Like, I'd have friends that were like rocking Dashboard, Death Cab for Cutie. Like, I would get in the car and they would be driving around to that, and I was like, oh, that's some emo shit. And they'd be like, this is not emo. This is Death Cab for Cutie.
This is indie. I'm coward.
I'm like, homie, this sounds very sad. This sounds...
Well, first of all, correct.
Yeah, the glove compartment. Oh, tell me more about that. What are these lyrics saying? Are they happy or are they introspective, perhaps? Maybe a little bit emotional.
So there's another question for you guys. When you hear emo or you think of emo, are you thinking like that pop culture image kind of like thing, or are you thinking specifically of like the content of the music?
For me, it's a bit of both because I also, while I was in high school, worked at Hot Topic during like, yeah. So like I went on my off day to a Black Parade listening party at my store. So yeah, this is also references for everybody. Actually, that was in college. Never mind. That was I was in college during that, but I went there because I'm fucking 104 years old. But
your emo merit, is that the right word?
that's my merit, y'all. I heard Black Parade and a Hot Topic. You'll never know the kind of life I've led. But yeah, the Hot Topic just had all of that like very strong stuff around that time, like pushing emo shit. And so if like there was a shirt that was in a Hot Topic, it was like, this is either metal or emo and whatever it is. So it's like, yeah, here's like a Simple Plan t-shirt. It's like, well, that's in the emo section. It's like, oh, there's a Dashboard t-shirt that's in the emo section. So like all my friends that were listening to that at the time pretending like, no, this is just like singer-songwriter, this is indie, this is whatever. I'm like, no, it's not.
I'd be like, no, singer-songwriter, Alanis Morissette, Dashboard, no, silly. Get in the emo section. Let's go.
Yeah.
How do you feel? How do you feel about what that means to you?
I grew up when like the mall emo was like a thing. So I see like now, is that what it is? Because like I go back and I look at like what the OG emo and everything is, just so I can understand and like have the grounding and foundation of it. But to me, like, I understand people get it and where it comes from, the development and evolution of it, but it's just so sleepy to me. And it doesn't do anything for me. Mm-hmm. I really like really fast and, like, aggressive music. So all that kind of falls in line with, like, more of the mall emo. Then I listen to, like, the newer emo that's out as well, like Origami Angel, like Hot Mulligan, things like that, too. So that's what I think of it. But also, if somebody who's trying to be like, oh, you don't listen to real emo, I'd be like, okay, calm down. Like, do you listen to fifth wave emo? And then you can come at me.
Stop.
Tell me who Hot Mulligan is, you coward. Then come back to me.
The only waves are on the sea when you're in your boat and you're listening to whatever you need to just get you over those
whatever
waves.
You need.
Yeah, I feel like what it is it can be so different to so many different people. Like I said, that's like people are like the whole cubby, this shoe cubby's mine, and this is what where it's like we all have shoes in the shoe cubby, and not everyone has the exact same shoes, but it's always, I feel like also like what emo is or was, I think is also super depending on like who you ask and exactly what. Probably like what socioeconomic class you grew up in, and like the very specific year in which you were in high school, and I'm sure it's very. And then like even there's kind of like emo, not revivals, but like there's like a whole new intense mall emo look kind of thing happening with some like of the kids now, right? It's maybe not as big as it used to be, but it's still like. I think
it's more mainstream now than it was before because you have like TikTok and social media now to really push it. So you have like, I mean, when we were young and when we went to Riot Fest this year and Lala, there was a lot of kids there. And there are also a lot of kids who had just like clearly never been to like a big music fest or like an emo or punk fest, period. Just because of how they acted and how they were just like
gatekeeping on it.
No, I'm not. But it was like, you could tell because of just like how they dressed, how they acted. So like, it's more in the mainstream now because you do have more people who you would be like, oh, they would absolutely never listen to this. But because, like, the person who kind of championed a lot of that comeback is Travis Barker, whoever he collaborated with. So you have all these people who are like, well, I like MGK. I don't know Travis Barker, but they like all these other things that's getting put out and it's being pushed so much because of the labels. So that's what's happening. So it's making it's like a good and bad thing. Like, it's good because we get to have all this stuff again and all these bands are more prominent. The downside is, there's more people who don't fully understand like the subculture and genre and like the full meaning of it, and then kind of like just trivialize it in a way to an extent, depending if they know it or not too. Like if they're young kids, they probably don't really get what it means fully.
Lizzie's like, I remember when Riot Fest was a house show.
No, I don't. I was too young for that.
It was never a house show. It was just a different thing.
Congress.
Well,
Yeah,
it was, yeah.
it's like cross pollination. It's definitely in terms of like labels and what's hitting right now. And there's definitely, I feel like a new resurgence in like rock music, whereas I feel like the pendulum has swung away from rock for a while. I feel like there's definitely, because of the, again, like not aesthetic cross pollination because it's so deeper than that, but I guess brand cross pollination. Using things like TikTok and labels, essentially being like, yeah, Travis Barker and Willow, poof, go on, and then the yada 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 yada, poof, go on, you know, and people are like, oh my god, it's just the same thing that Pokemon does, you know, and they're like, I know what we need this year, you guys, we need another Charizard evolution, and people are like, but then the devs that are working on the game are like, yes, that's what we need to make sales. So it's just like the solid sales. I love Pokemon.
I'm a dumb Pokemon fan. Like,
oh, me too. Like, hold on. I have. Hold on.
I hope it's one of the Charizards.
No, it's like this old ass blanket I've had since I was like.
Oh my god, that's vintage.
That is awesome.
It's gnarly, man. I got like some. Anyway, we can play show and tell all evening. I'm gonna try to stay focused.
Look, I mean, it's the same nostalgia shit of just like, yeah, I played Pokemon before. They're gonna keep releasing Pokemon games. I'm gonna keep playing Pokemon games. And I like the cards got super big over the pandemic too, and now that's like everywhere. People streaming, like, or as somebody said, hey, yeah, I sometimes just hang out with my friends and we go get booster packs, and I just go like, hey man, you want to rip some packs tonight? It's like that fucking.
I mean,
rules.
I found out one of the people in one of my group chats, one of my many group chats. We were like, oh, why isn't this dude hanging out with us this weekend at like our usual weekend friend hang? And they're like, oh, he's at a Pokemon tournament. Excuse me?
Ripping packs.
What? They're like, yeah, he's at like a national tournament for like Pokemon. What?
Lit.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the things that my parents told me, like, oh, you'll grow out of it, when I was like, I want to do this when I was a kid, like, that was the biggest lie I was ever told. I never grew out of any of it, and it's like really sweet and validating and beautiful to see like a whole generation kind of like that. Not that every single millennial out there is like buying Pokemon cards again, but like there's enough.
There's enough.
There's enough of them, and it's just, I think, real sweet. And this was like my, like, healing my inner child, was I got this fucking dank ass IPS backlit custom SP. This was like I had a little bit of extra money 1 month and was just like, I want to buy myself a gift, and I hadn't bought myself anything. And this is like in the middle of COVID, and like, and it glows in the dark because I'm a fucking child, I guess.
No, that's sick. That's sick as fuck.
I love it. Yeah. So I just want to share. I'm in it. I'm also not a calm Pokemon.
We have a friend of ours who I think I don't remember if Rick sent it to me and you, Lizzie, or just me, but he like said about like nostalgia and millennials growing up and like going through all of like the trauma we've had to experience of like the pandemic, the global recession, 9/11, all this shit. And it's like, man, maybe I'm just going to fucking play Pokemon and feel okay for 5 minutes. Like, why the fuck? Like, parents are like, oh, you're going to grow out of this shit. It's like, my friend, my parent, my mom, my father, my whatever, like
in Christ,
I need to play this dumb little video game, and you're just gonna have to fucking deal with it. Yeah.
Well, that's what happened in like 2016 when Pokemon Go came out. I never played it, but I had that was when like the world truly knew peace.
It was world fucking peace, dude.
I can't tell you. I was like in college, and I can't tell you how many people like hated each other. Like, no, we're gonna go like Pokemon hunt together. I'm like,
we made up.
What?
Nah, I heard there's a Blastoise over there. We gotta go check it out.
I will say, in that year though, my one friend, he let me learn how to drive in his car because he's like, you drive me around so I can get these certain Pokemon and you get your hours, so you can take the driver's test. I was like, okay.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I literally play Pokemon, and I walk like 5 miles a day. I even went today.
That's exercise then.
Yeah, dude. I bring my dogs. And I'm like, let's go keep down our fucking neighborhood gyms, guys. Yeah. Let's go kick those teams out of our fucking gyms, you guys. Let's go get some Pokecoins.
You should go to the neighboring neighborhood where that one elitist emo guy is, who's in whatever band it is, and be like, I'm going to take your gym.
Do you remember high school? I run the gym now.
Yeah.
What team in Pokemon Go are you on?
I'm red.
Okay, good. You're like a regular person then.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's a lot of what is it about the color prejudices? Because I can only put it together from the color of the games and then think about just like not spiritually is not the word I was looking for, but like metaphorically of like the color red feels like this.
Yeah.
And the color blue.
I was about to say our mod in the chat, Alice said yellow is the only answer. So can
that's just incorrect.
someone elaborate? Because I'm out of the loop.
Yeah, what's the psychology there with the different colors?
I don't know. It's like Pokemon astrology. Like it doesn't mean anything, right?
Astrology?
Poke astrology. It's like so the main reason that the colors matter in the game is because there's 3 teams, and so only one can hold a gym. There's different team leaders for each one of the teams, and then like because we had Pokemon Go Fest in Chicago. This is the greatest tangent we've ever gone on this podcast, and I'm going to run it out. We had Pokemon Go Fest here in Chicago, and at that they had different things for each team, and there's like a bunch of different stuff that was happening in those for each team, and like whatever. I think though that like a lot of people in the game have chosen the red team. Like I think overall, like if you look at the amount of players who've chosen like teams, they pick like the red team. And so when you're on the major team and you go by a gym, like you can like throw your Pokemon in that gym, even if you didn't take it over. But if it's like under blue or under yellow, then you have to go and like challenge that gym leader and say, hey, get them up, get them out. I'm coming in. Red runs this house here. This is Red's house show. So that's my thought is like, it's a game benefit.
Is it like the Harry Potter houses? Because that's the only thing I can really think of, just because those are also colors.
There's no like, Harry Potter houses, they got whole things. Like Hufflepuff is a vibe, a very specific vibe. Mm-hmm. Or Ravenclaw, there's like little personality things about it. But there's none of that outside of, I think, your own personal speculation when it comes to Pogo. There's no like in-game. You just have 3 characters that you look at, like the 3 team leaders, and I guess you identify with either the color or that character, and you're like, I'm gonna be on this team. I don't know what it is, but the dudes I used to live with when I first downloaded the game, they were like, "You have to be red. We're red. We can't play together if you're not red." And I was like, "Damn, shit."
We did the same thing.
I was gonna pick red anyway, but like, damn, yeah. It's like when you're washing the dishes and your mom's like, "Wash the dishes," and you're like, "No, this makes me not wash the dishes, but I'm already doing it." So, but that's not the only time I've heard of people be like red, you know. So I wonder what that is.
For me, it was just like
blue. Yeah, you're not all blue. Like I've never heard that. I've heard some people be like yellow only. Like, but I don't know what it is.
I do think there is like red is like, and I saw this on like Reddit posts at the time because I was like, I got to find out like if there's anything good going on in Chicago, you know, like where's the meetups, where's the hangs, where's the hot spots, you know? So I was on the Reddit a bunch and people were like, red is just like that sort of like aggressive, like angry energy. Blue is sort of like the calm, like whatever, dude, I'll just win, you know? Like I don't need to be on that level. I can just win. And yellow is just like, are we playing a game today? That was the only like kind of reference I could get for like the personalities behind it. And Alice, I'm sorry.
That makes total sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I see it like anime character archetypes. Mm-hmm. I feel like the blue one's definitely the cool one with glasses, you know, that pushes them up. Yeah. And it's just like, I know.
You just activated my secret cards.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I need to push up my glasses right now, like not joking, and now I don't want to. I'd much rather these fall off my face.
You gotta do it with the shine. Get the shine where it's
like, the glare.
Allow me to tell you how I knew all your moves.
Yeah, that was cool. Did you not feel cool?
I just do it all the time, otherwise I can't see.
You have to do it in a cool way every time.
I did that when we were DJing, and one of our friends in the stream, I don't know if he's in the chat, Ragstar, he was like, "You look like a librarian," but really I was just looking down, but my glasses fell forward, so I was just like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" Yeah. He's like, "Oh, you look like you're a librarian," and I'm like, "Okay, cool."
Usually I have a good transition to the next topic.
I was about to say,
That's what it
so unlike us not keeping it average, how has Keep It
Oh.
Average been sonically for you compared to your other songs that you have out?
So I was told we'd be talking about Kid Bruises. Keep It Average is one that's coming out November 11th, and I really love that one. I'm happy to talk about that. Are
We
we
can
still...
talk about it. We
Yeah,
can
you can talk
promote
about
it.
it.
Yeah.
All right. So I just like Gucci. One time
like
I
Gooch.
used that phrase and I accidentally said Gooch.
Yeah.
And there was a stinky wiener around me, man. He started being like, Gooch? Oh, yeah, you like Gooch? Yeah, Gooch?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gooch? Yeah, you say Gooch? Is that Gooch? And I was like, holy shit, bro.
Yeah.
This is not Gooch.
This is
Anyway,
not
I don't
Gooch
know.
anymore.
Not Gooch. I was like, Jesus, all I did was...
No, we're keeping the Gooch over here.
Got feelings, man. They're like, my shoe cubby. Anyway, the fuck. All right. I love Keep It Average. I think it's we're definitely, so for Girlwood. I have about 60 songs sitting in that pile I was talking about that I made over COVID. Because like, man, I see like kids running around like COVID's over. I'm unaffected. And I'm just like, I'm still like in the house all the time, and I'm like, what? You know, so like I really love being in my house and working and writing music. So that's what I did over COVID. And like I had like in my own experience, like a lot of people died, so I'm still just kind of like mentally like outside bad. But I'm not totally a shut-in. Like I go to the store and I walk 5 miles a day for Pokemon Go. So
Oh yeah.
I get outside. Anyway, so sorry. Keep It Average. I love it. It's one of my favorite songs I've written in a long time, and I'm really happy that my management team is like, do that one. I was like, yes, because so sometimes I'll have my demos and they'll be like, we should go into the studio, which is lots of fun, but I always feel like I don't get like the project sonically exactly the way I want it, because then you have more chefs in the kitchen. You know, they're like, we should put some thyme in the soup. We should put some parsley in the soup. And I'm just like, can y'all stop putting shit in the soup? Like, I brought the fucking, it's fine, right? It's just, you work with people, and I love people, and people are great. But sometimes, you know, if it's like your fucking thing, you know, you're like, you want your fucking thing to, anyway, so there's always a little bit of original creativity, I feel like, that I don't get to navigate exactly the way I want when I'm in like doing it all with people. And that's how Kid Bruises was recorded. I still like the song, but Keep It Average, he was pretty much like, dude, let's mix and master the demo. And I was like, yeah! I was like, fuck yes. And I went in, I was like, wait, let me re-record everything and make it real nice, you know? And he was just like, why? And I was like, no, trust me, I got this. So I went through and I like squeaky cleaned everything, and I sent it off to Mia, and I sent her the drum track, and I was like, hey, I do not have the microphones necessary for this. Can you just play it for me? And she was like, yeah. Sent it back. Boom, now we got a mix. Came back, and I listened to it, and I was like, like this is the sound I want, you know. So I'm feeling really stoked about that. And genre wise, I feel like I've made 5 or 6 points, but there's a reason. So the pile, not everything in the pile is rock. There's some hip hop and rap in there. There's some like straight synth pop music. There's like cheesy 80 ballads that I made as a joke that my manager was like, you know, and I'm like, okay, cool, you know. But I feel vulnerable about some of it, right? But like Kid Bruises is what I'm vulnerable about, because it's like, you know, God, I wanna kill myself, Grandma. Like that's heavy.
Yeah.
That's hard shit. And I was like, you know, I have other goofy songs where I'm like, I'm your dad, like, and I'm being silly, so like, it's heavy shit. But anyway. Keep It Average is so much fun. I love that song. And it's still, if I were to say traveling through the genres and how we're releasing stuff, the train is still an emo-ville-ish. Keep It Average is definitely more like traditional, I don't know, sad girl / indie rock / they're still screaming in it. So I feel like that keeps it in the in that
Right.
shoe cubby. Yeah, super stoked about it, because again, I feel like it's just a really precious thing. I feel like when you do this for so long and you feel like all the products are good and everyone else likes it, but you still don't feel like your perfect representation in your product, you know, it's like a recipe or something. And then you get it, you do it once, you do it twice, you do it third time, and you're like, boom, yo, come downstairs, you have to try this. I nailed it, you know. That's how it feels. But after that, the train leaves Emoville, and I think we're gonna release like a really, how do I even say it, like commercial pop rock song. It's very run of the mill in terms of like digestible. Like it's not just for. I like it. It's definitely fun. And then we got some rap songs that my manager is like, we need to release the rap music, and I'm like, I'm excited, but I'm scared at the same time.
For those like more rap tracks, is it just you and Mia, or do you have somebody you collaborated with? Because that's also a big trend we've seen recently.
All me. I do everything. So you can't see it because you're on the computer, but I have my computer. That's you. And then you're actually you're hooked up to. This is everything I record on vocally, and then my what do you call that? Fucking interface. My interface is right here. My pedals are all right here. My pedals are on my feet. Like at my feet is Spaghetti City and cables, and amplifiers. I'm kicking 2 with my feet right now. So no, I do everything, and I got my little MIDI keyboard down there and pump out beats. And actually, I'll just play drums on my electronic drum set for beats, and I just love all the music, and I love all the genres. And wrapping this out into being emo, that was something I felt like I had to hide or wasn't really well welcomed when I looked like. When I looked like this as a teenager, you know what I mean?
Oh, pure scene emo.
Yeah. And you know, I feel like if I was like, I like rap music, people would be like stinky wieners about it. And if you're like, I like Fall Out Boy, they're like, that's not even heavy, you know. And then if you listen to heavy music, they're like, you only listen to that because you only know one song, you know. And I know like a lot of that is just like emo gatekeeping shit, and then I know like a bit of that's also like gender related. People are like that with women a lot, and kids. There's just a lot of layers as to like why it was just like wiener town, man, when I was a kid. But now that I'm adult and I don't give a fuck about what anybody thinks, and I can say I like everything. I love pop music. I make a lot of pop music. I love heavy music. I make a lot of heavy music, and I don't need someone else to like validate that in me and be like, oh, girl, it's not even hard. And I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about, because like there are tracks that are absolutely nasty heavy, you know. And I have stuff that I haven't released that's super nasty heavy, and then I've got absolute fucking pop bangers too. And I love being able to do it all, and I love not having the stinky wieners around me anymore. It's great.
I think the fact that you've gotten like a variety of like press coverage and like one NPR, which I feel it's very few and far in between that they pick anything that is usually more heavy, which is what I personally associate Girlwood with. And then like you've also been on like Audio Tree, which is also, they've been getting a little bit more like into like that newer emo and getting a little bit heavier over the last couple of years, but that's still pretty new because they used to be like strictly like just like mainly indie or like indie pop. Because I had a friend who used to work there. So I think that Girlwood, at least in the way I have heard you guys prior, is more kind of riot girl punk, but you do kind of like span that breadth of area overall.
Yeah, I think that's something else I'm really lucky about. Like I do everything, and then when I'm working with other people, it's just one. So it's really easy to be like, let's do this, you know? And it's like, okay. You know, you don't have someone being like, I can't play that. Or like, you know, or I don't have to, wrangle children or, you know. I'm really lucky for that, but I think that's also part of why. And that is, I think, a bit of Girlwood's superpower is the like, or why I've been able to navigate how I have is because I'm not defined or held down to one genre. If people like heavy, fast, like punk music, there's something there for them. If they don't like the weird stuff, there's something there for them. And then I was super surprised the first time I pulled up Spotify and like there's one song called I'm Having Sex Tonight, which is very like I don't even know how to say, maybe XX vibe, kind of very slow, chill, you know, and indie, whatever. And that one was like up there in like the top 5 or top 6, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I just love that there's like a little something for everybody. Not that that's why I'm doing it, but what is real impactful and cool though is playing a show and just doing a heavy set and like screaming the entire fucking time, and then getting off stage and then having like usually like a chick, a woman be like, oh my god, I actually hate this genre of music because I feel like I don't resonate with it, and I've never felt included in those kind of spaces, and I've never got it because of that. But hearing you play, I get it now, because a lot of the topics I sing about are about like fucked up topics and just like stinky weenies, man.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be people being stinky wieners on women and people being stinky wieners on gays, and something about that makes it click for like women in the crowd. I'm like, that's so fucking awesome, you know? It's like, I want them to have that, you know? I want them to feel they can have a space where they also feel represented or included in heavy music, because I worked at a couple different little like, you know, emo or heavy metal little festival things, just like helping people and like volunteering, and man, the amount of times I was on stage and like was helping people move like cymbals off or moving like drums on or something, I'd be like, okay, here, do you need your what do you need? You know, and someone would be like, oh, hey there, darling, just hold my beer. And it's just like, I'm trying to work you fucking, I'm trying to work you fucking wiener. Like,
yeah.
like, Jesus, help me help you right now, you know? But, so yeah, not that I don't really like talking about negativity. I don't like talking about, you know, the atrocities of the world, because, you know, like that's going to be there no matter what. I like to focus on the positive and talk about the good stuff, but that's what I use music for. I get all my fucking anger and frustrations out within music, which is like diary excerpts. And then my manager's like, let's release the one about you wanting to kill yourself.
Let's post that one.
Hey, that one, you know, I think a lot of people like vibe with it, so we're just gonna do that, right? Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Like there is going to be the music scene, and I guess I left before Haley Williams said this at When We Were Young Fest about like dudes in the music industry and how there's not enough like women and female representation and non-binary and LGBTQ and like all these representations, and it's like, cool, we have a bunch of fucking dudes though, and then the dudes get real fucking gatekeepy about everything, because it's like, yeah, it's all us. It's like, what do you mean you don't get to just come in and do shit? But like, I do think that there is that exists, and it needs to be called out, and it needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed both verbally to its face and say, no, you can't just like be a dick all the time. Like, there are people that aren't you, and they need to be on stage too. And then there's also like just badass musicians going up on stage and playing their heart out, and everybody can relate to that and acknowledge that. And then you see it and you're like, okay, I don't know why I'm being such a douchebag. Like, this is just good music. These are good, talented people. Like, let's just all have a good time. And I think with like the more seeing more of it, having more of it available to different audiences, and also just like the different genres involved in it, the different people that are involved in it, and then like having, it's just like all of it comes together to create like a better scene now than I think it was when like we were growing up and we had the, you know, like when this stuff was first coming out. Now we get to like look back and go, wow, we were kind of douches back then. Like, it's a good thing now we have all these like new people in the scene that are like really fucking nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, you know, like Rome wasn't built in a day, and like the isms that I'm talking about here are like very deeply ingrained into our entire society. So like trying to tackle it in just music, it's a difficult situation that, you know, can't be solved just by, you know, a label taking on like, oh, we got a girl band now, you know.
Look at the women we hired. We're fine now, right? Now leave us alone.
It's the only one we have, but we're good now, right, guys?
We got one, okay? We hired a woman, okay? Leave us alone.
I'm not here to preach or be like, well, if we did this, it'd be better. And it's just like, I'm just saying that, you know, like, again, you know, what we're talking about here is like really deeply ingrained stuff, and it's, you know, baby steps, and we just have to play the cards that we were dealt, and, you know, and sometimes there's some shitty hands that you gotta play though. And but I'm happy to be here, and I was just saying, I love when that happens. I love when, you know, someone's like grabs me by the face after a show and they're like, I get it now. And I'm like, yeah, you know, because I love heavy music, and I totally understand the gatekeeping bullshit, you know, and people being like, you know, well, do you know.
I love it there was like I don't think the meme is like very popular anymore, but it was like guys saying to girls like you're only in it for the dudes, and then it's like the dudes, and it's like chubby bearded motherfuckers,
Yeah,
and you're
it's
like,
just
I'm not here to body shame anybody, but if you're gonna be a douchebag, like nobody looks like you, so just chill. Like people like music, man.
Yeah, just like let people like what they like. You know, someone's allowed to like MCR and Fall Out Boy, and someone's allowed to like classical music. I don't, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know whether gatekeeping isn't classical music. That must be really far outside my realm.
You like Mozart? Name 3 concertos.
Now, okay, I will say I know this is the only other tidbit of classical music I know, but it's at the radio perspective because there's only like 2 classical radio stations here in Chicagoland. Only one is like a big corporate one. Corporate, it's public radio, but still. But they are so elitist with it. It's like if you don't know like Beethoven's like 5th, I don't know anything about classical, whatever the 5th song he ever wrote.
Beethoven's 5th is fine.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's like if you don't know that and like the deep cuts to Beethoven, which I don't know how you would because like nothing was recordable back then. So weird flex. But it's like if you don't,
I feel like I have to come at you with there and be like, yeah, they didn't record it, they wrote it down. My friend. Alice in the chat like sheet music.
I don't know what I've never played an instrument in my life. I've never taken a music class in my life.
The drummer comes with charts ready to play.
I've never taken a music class in my life. I'm gonna be hundo p honest. But like they get very elitist with it, and if you try to like work there, you need to like know every single like thing in classical music. Where any other radio station, if you go to a music radio station, they're like, I mean, could you learn how to like yeehaw music? Okay.
Yeah. Yo, I didn't even think about that, but no, of course there would be super intense, like elitist gatekeeping of classical music. Of course there would be. I don't know. I just so far outside of my realm. I feel.
Oh yeah, like that's the only tidbit that I know about classical music whatsoever, and it's the most niche thing.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of people liking what they like, and yo, another thing about like gatekeeping stinky wieners back in the emo era is people, if things became too popular, they'd gatekeep that too. Like, everyone knows that, and it's like it's like Nickelback. It's like it got good for a reason. Like they didn't fucking like blast the fuck off in their careers because they sucked. Like you just like to say it sucked because everyone knew what it was, you know. Which wow, doesn't that make you special? It just makes me feel like that about all the, this is my cubby, you know, it's all the like, oh, that's your shoe cubby, and only your shoes go in. That's right. Like, yeah.
I did try to gatekeep Evanescence, though. I'm going to say that.
Okay, so tell me what gatekeeping Evanescence is. Please tell me. I want to know.
March 4th, 2003, the day that Fallen was released. After I heard Bring Me to Life and My Immortal on the phenomenal Daredevil starring Ben Affleck soundtrack.
Oh, no.
And I said, this is my fucking band. I went to Best Buy in Niles, Illinois, and I bought that shit. I was like, Dad, you need to drive me to Best Buy. I got to get this album. And I was like, no, I am the Evanescence fan. I was at their first show in Chicago. I don't know if that's true, but I'm saying it on the podcast, and somebody else can do the research.
You're maybe saying fake facts. I can't believe
Relax.
Wait, here's the thing. When you bought it, was it you or your dad who bought the CD?
I bought the CD with my goddamn God-given allowance. It's
a big deal. How long did it take you to make that allowance?
Fucking couple weeks.
I bet that's
It's a $13 CD, all right? This was in the cheap days. So there I was, like listening to Evanescence, being a little fucking goth kid in my freshman year of high school, into my sophomore year of high school, right? And I'm like, this is it. This is music. And then some of the popular kids apparently thought the record was pretty good, and they started to get real into it, and they were playing it all the time. And I was like, you know what? I didn't go through what I've been through for the popular girls to take Evanescence's Fallen away from me. I don't want to hear you talking to me about the song Haunted like you know what they're talking about. I've lived haunted. I am the one who was brought to life. I am the immortal.
Okay, calm down, bestie.
Did you hiss people too?
What? Did I hiss at people?
Yeah, were you the kind of kid that like hissed at people?
No.
Oh, I had friends
There
who
was a
hissed at
certain
people.
point when I realized
Character building.
Yeah, no. There was a certain point that came very quickly to me where I realized, I think they're too popular. I don't think that it's like up to me to like protect this band, right? Like it came at a time in my life where I'm like, no, I just really like this band and it means something to me, but I don't need to identify or define myself by that music and say that it is what it is to me. So it should be that same thing to everybody, realizing that Evanescence probably doesn't want to be like, yeah, we have this fan and that's it. I hope he comes to all of our stuff and pays us thousands of dollars, because otherwise we are going to go broke because we have one fan. He said so. So I learned pretty quickly that it's like, no, the music is for everybody to take whatever they want to take from it. It is not for me. So I am a reformed stinky wiener from my childhood.
I mean, we're only human. I'm sure we've all been, a stinky wiener at some point or another, especially when you're like a kid and you're going through like your identity and you get over the whole like, I had this toy first.
Yeah.
You can't play with it. Like we all.
You're playing with it wrong.
Yeah, right. I'm sure. But what about you? Do you have a story like that? Like, what was your first thing that you were like, yeah, and then other people were like, yeah, and you were like, no.
Oh man, I don't.
Was it you gatekept food the other day? Like, don't play.
What food was it?
The fucking food of the festival. You're like, oh, these kids don't even know how to stand in line for food. It's like, Lizzie.
No,
Lizzie,
it's
it's
just
food.
annoying. No, it's just annoying because the lines were just poorly organized. Like the whole thing is poorly organized in that way. I don't think, like, I mean, the first band that I was like, I know this band and I'm into it, but it was like I was more like shit on for it as an emo kid. It was just Jonas Brothers. Cause I was like I saw like their first shows in like 2006 and I still go to their shows.
Let's fact check that.
Currently.
Let's make sure we have our fact checkers on that, please.
That is correct.
Sure. If you're going to.
So I'm at Dirty Nellies and Palatine.
Fuck yeah, you did.
Hell yeah, I did. But like, I just remember I was super into them, but I had to keep it on the DL because I'd get made fun of. And they're like, you're not a real emo kid. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, have you listened to Mandy? That's pretty fucking emo. Have you listened to Underdog? That's pretty fucking emo. Like, I guess that was it. Like, I was more... Like, I don't think when I was younger, I really gatekept because I was just trying to, like, figure shit out. Now I feel I would be more inclined to be like, oh, you don't know that? But it's more of, like, because I've been more in the music industry. So when things become more popular and it's like, oh, this has been out for, like, 4 or 5 years or, 1 or 2, because I'm in, like, already in the music scene, I'm like, oh, you didn't know that. Like, I already knew that. Like, cool, I'm glad you got there. Mm-hmm. But it's usually not, like, very malicious. It's like, oh, like, I've already known about the first album. I like the first album more than the second or something like that. Mm-hmm. I guess otherwise it would maybe just be My Chem because their first album is, like, their best album. And if somebody says no, I'll be like, you're incorrect.
No.
Yeah.
We can start wrapping up the recording part of this too, and move into the hangout and the chat and whatever. And if anybody has anything on Twitch, we can talk about it. If you don't, that's also okay. But when you get situated here, we'll let you do your plugs and where people can listen to Kid Bruises, which is already out. Pretty soon after this is released, they'll be able to listen to Keep It Average. So, promote them. Tell people about the stuff.
Yeah, the stuff. Keep It Average comes out 11/11. I made a music video for it, and I've never... Yeah, no, this is, I think, the first music video I've ever made, so I hope it's good. I'm making the whole thing myself, and, like, we've got a chicken suit. There's some egg throwing.
Okay.
It's definitely what I would consider emo, not in terms of, like, the heaviness, but in terms of, like, the content. And it's about, like, hide your true self because it's going to get taken advantage of or used against you. Yeah, and that's a really important or sad, I don't know, it's like a personal message to me, I guess, or for me. I'm not talking good. I like that song. I like that shit. I like all the sad shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kid Bruises is also really sad. More like a diary entrance like a diary entry kind of a song. And yeah, and then Keep It Average, I guess, is also kind of a diary entry. Yeah, it's sad. I'm singing. Yeah, it's like let people assume the worst of you because like it doesn't matter, you know. It's so like so it's like keep it average, keep it dumb. They'll think I'm stupid and be proud of my bare minimum. So yeah, and let them think there's dishes in my sink and think that I'm a burnout who don't care about anything. Don't let them know you care. Don't let them know you clean. And you know, so shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because it will be exploited. But I think a lot of people deal with that, you know, escapism, you know, operating in escapism, and just like they leave their house and they turn on like, you know, auto mode, and, you know, don't be your true self, and like don't be straightforward because like the world doesn't appreciate you anyway, and like the world will only like take advantage of you. So that's kind of what that's about. So I guess that's a relatively, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, yeah, you know, all the
You know, the usual
that
lines
stuff.
that are in there.
Yeah,
That makes
the
it
sing along
better.
parts. Yeah,
guitars. I think
There
there's
you go.
guitar on this one. Okay.
Yeah, some drums.
So then where can people follow you on socials to tell you that they like it?
I got Smeeze on Instagram. I got Instagram. I got TikTok. TikTok and Instagram.
And are those just Girlwood? Just straight?
Straight up Girlwood. No, Girlwood band.
Okay.
There's a man that exists.
There's a
His name
fucking guy.
is
Yeah.
Leatherwood.
Yeah. Garrett Leatherwood. What a
Leatherwood
fucking guy.
Years ago, my guy. Like fucking like 6 years ago, 5 years ago. 2017, I think was the first time I messaged him and was like, hey, I'm in a band. And I thought really hard about my name, and I saw that you have. And like I don't know, like on one hand it's like, how do I have the audacity to ask someone to change their Instagram name? But I did, you know, in like the most polite way possible. I was like, I'm a band. Well, not a huge deal. He didn't, which is fine, but not a huge deal. So it's just Girlwood band. Garrett Leatherwood.
I'm not saying it.
Middle name starts with an R.
Yeah, I'm like, that's interesting. I was like, GR Leatherwood. Okay.
I was
Nobody
like,
be mean to Garrett. Let the
Garrett
man
has
live.
done nothing but just have it for a while.
Yeah, but we've got somebody who owns Emo Social Club on Twitter, and I'm like, I think
We're trying to fight them because they've also
Look.
been like inactive.
yeah, and I don't know if Garrett's doing much, but
No. But also at the same time, if I was like doing my own thing and someone was like, can you change your handle because of my band is your same name? I'd be like, what the fuck is this?
I might think
I
about it
would.
just out of like, dude, that's awesome. Like if it was just like my name or something, and they're like, hey, so our name is like fucking Boats McGee. It's like, okay, like that's my username. It's not obviously, but
It could
like,
be.
oh, that's fucking chill. Like you're a yacht rock cover band. Let's change it. You can have Boats McGee.
Yacht rock. I learned a word. I learned a new word from our talk today.
I'm about to blow your mind. We're gonna get into some yacht rock after this, but yeah.
Whoa. Is
Let's
that like the Eagles?
the
Is it
Eagles
Eagles?
could be there. I have not put on too much of the Eagles on a yacht rock playlist, but it can do business, you know.
You mean the one Ingalls song, just Hotel
We have
California? on
got to
repeat?
go. There are many other Eagles songs. It's fucking fine. We are going to go chill over on Twitch, but thank you for listening to this episode with Girlwood. Make sure you're following on everything. Girlwood _band on the Instas and the Twitters and the TikToks and on the stuff, and stream the songs, put it on repeat, just jam out, groove out. If you're on a boat, play it on the boat.
Don't fall off the boat.
Don't stay safe on the boat, listening to fucking
Making
top
hot
tunes.
dogs. Your
Making
fingers
hot
slide
dogs.
in water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can add Girlwood and Hinder to the same playlist, and it'll all go
It all
great
makes
together.
sense.
Two great tastes taste great together. All right. Well, let's go hang out with everybody over there. In the meantime, Ray, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Thanks for having me. I love people, and I love meeting new people and talking to them and having a good time.
We do too.